Yo, it's been a while since I made one of these videos. I have another video that I made probably about 2 years ago called Some Thoughts. Natives Dumbed Down. I figured I'll make a part 2 to that now and discuss a couple of issues. Now it's 2017 and the presidential election for America just finished happening, and Donald Trump has just fucking won recently, not too long ago, and is now officially the president. And speaking on natives being dumbed down, looks like the whole continent, especially the American population, has been dumbed down and duped. Has been put in a predicament of looking inferior to the rest of the world and being stupid enough to fall for, I guess, this whole election. Now, I wasn't a fan of neither Donald Trump nor Hillary Clinton. There are far more rumors and conspiracy theories around Hillary Clinton than there ever was Donald Trump. And if anything that the people are saying about Hillary Clinton seems to be true, then, she's a nasty woman, as Donald Trump would have said it. But it's obvious that humans around this continent, all over Turtle Island, North and South America, it's obvious us humans are being taken for a long ride down fucking shit lane. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. We're all foolish enough to assume this and think that. There's a good portion of Americans and Canadians who believe Donald Trump is going to be good for the community, or good for the continent, or good for America. People believe that he's going to create all kinds of jobs and that all these jobs are going to benefit America. But we all know that every single commander-in-chief that is put into office in America are practically running with the establishment of and with the Fed, which is the Federal Reserve. Now, I'm assuming some of you, or most of you, may not know what the fuck I'm talking about, so maybe you should do a little bit more research about the Federal Reserve first and figure out what their interests are. And you'll soon find that their interests are working along with the rest of the interests of what's going on and what Donald Trump is approving. With all those pipelines, all the fossil fuels, all that stuff. You'll learn that a good portion of those tax dollars, a good portion of those dollars are not going to necessarily go to the American public, but they're going to actually go to the Federal Reserve. So, with all these jobs that Donald Trump is creating, sure, he'll probably give a good amount of people a specific amount of jobs for a certain amount of time. And the majority of all that money, all those trillions and trillions of dollars that are being made, they're going to go straight to the Fed's pockets. All the bankers' pockets. And, they're already over $100 trillion per family. Well, we're just going to keep making them more money. Everyone's being duped. He's technically working for the establishment and is part of the establishment. And even though Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, somehow, some way, Donald Trump still won the electoral votes, and, that's just the way it goes. The man with the biggest amount of money is definitely going to win, and it's been like that since the dawn of elections. The man with the most amount of money will most definitely profitize and win the election. Or whoever's campaign has spent the most amount of money will win. George Bush Jr., Bill Clinton and his campaign, Obama and his campaign, they all had the most money, they won. And of course, now when you look at this election, who has more money publicly? Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? Donald Trump is an estimated roughly about 10 million. He's worth a net worth of about 10 billion. And that's just his net worth. So that's not including all the rest of the things that he's invested in. That's just his net worth, 10 billion. So it was no doubt he won. He bought his votes. He won. He chose to win through his money. Money put him in there. So now what? What do we do? What did the American public do? Sit idly by and let the establishment fucked the country over again, over and over, for another 8 to 10 to 12 years, and we're just going to sit back and wallow, and we're going to dig our own graves, we're going to suck up all the resources of our own land, and we're going to keep on paying to that debt. We're still going to be putting ourselves in more debt. And the Canadians are jumping on the bandwagon. Trudeau's jumping on the bandwagon. Justin Trudeau, that is. We're all duped, we're all tricked, and we're all hoodwinked by this shit. And of course, the average thinker, the average actual thinking citizen can see the trickery, can see us, we're being manipulated, and as average minorities, Native Americans, black people, Mexicans, Muslims, all of us minorities, we're being discriminated against and segregated against. And when they want to make America great again, Donald Trump is 70 fucking years old. When was America great in his time? Well, think about it. Back when all this segregation was deep, when he was a young man, back in the 70s and the 60s and the early 80s, when America was very racially divided and we were working on trying to better ourselves. But, he wants to go back to those days where minorities really don't have a say. And it's not like we ever had a say. There was a good portion of African Americans who became very successful in the past 20 years. But, that's pretty much it. What about the Native Americans? Let's talk about the Native Americans for a bit. Let's talk about the Indians, all the Aboriginal people. I've been getting into heated debates over and over and over again since my last video based on how the Aboriginals are treated. And I always hear these feelings about this and that when it comes to how the Caucasians feel about the Indians and how the Indians feel about Caucasians. We are totally racially divided. We try so hard to allow and forgive. We try so hard to forgive and forget. And we do it. There's a lot of us that do it. We have forgiven. We have forgotten. But there's a good portion of us that haven't. Okay, well, why? It's because they still choose to hate us. For some random reason, we are still considered savage, animalistic people to them, and they don't like us. They just choose to not like us for whatever reason, because we are, privileged. We get smokes cheaper than them. We get gas, maybe, cheaper than them, if we have a treaty card. I don't know. They have all kinds of reasons. Because we're dark, we're poor, we're lazy, we're whatever, we don't benefit to society as much as they do, however they want to think about it. But they got to look at the statistics on why we are the way we are. What has us living like this? Why are we kept down and held down so much? Think about it. Why are we? Why are all reserves in third world class situations? Well, not all reserves. There are some rich reserves, kind of rich. But for a majority of all of us, a massive amount of us are still living in poverty. A massive amount of us can't necessarily get handouts without jumping through massive amounts of loopholes. And a massive amount of us are stuck in gangs, are stuck in third, second class lifestyles, are stuck in third, second class school curriculums and situations that we can't get ourselves out of. And we can't go and just walk into your guys' school and think it's going to be okay for us to be there. Like, we get discriminated against everywhere we go. We get singled out, we get shunned out, and we get bothered by practically every part of the establishment. We're looked at like we're inhuman to them sometimes. And it's kind of scary. Like, I can't go anywhere without being looked at like, oh, you're Indian. Well, we may cater to you a little bit more, so we can judge you. Like, we're judged everywhere we go. With these brown eyes and my dark hair and my crazy accent, I can't necessarily just go and find work as easily as, like I said before, John Smith over there. If it were easy, it would be done. But it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's not even close to easy to go out of our way to try and get into the types of businesses, try to go and invest in anything, or try and go and put our money into anything, because no one will work with the average Aboriginal unless we have some sort of ties to another business or another establishment of any kind when it comes to, white and Caucasian people, individuals. Now, we are pretty much living in a hell. We are living in a hell, and there's nothing really we can do about it. We gotta sit here and live it out. We gotta put up with everything that we put up with, and we got to suffer. We gotta wait it out, live it out, and be happy with what we got. And we do. A lot of us do. But I'm not. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with what I got. I'm not happy with the way life is, and I'm not happy with the way life is going for a lot of us. I have friends who are living in horrible, horrible situations, and they do it with smiles on their faces. I have friends who have lived through the worst situations that a man and or a woman or a child ever has to deal with, and they manage to forget it. Now, do your people go through what we go through? Do your people have to suffer what we have to suffer? Do you know what it's like to be in our situations? I highly doubt it. Well, maybe some of you do, but not most of you. And here's another thing. When it comes to awareness, when it comes to helping, there are a lot of Caucasian groups out there who say, oh, well, we care, we're considerate, we care, we are considerate, we want to help, we want to be there for you guys so you guys can get what we have, blah, blah, blah. I was kind of wondering, there's all these other race hate groups out there. Why isn't there a white group out there that is based on and focused on trying to change and trying to open up the eyes of their own kind? Where's the whites for the natives or the whites for the blacks groups? Where are the whites for human rights groups out there? Is there any? How come the white people are scared to speak up against their own people when it comes to hatred? Are they scared of their own people as well? I've never heard of one single group yet that is willing to stand up for the rights of others. Not one. I can't think of one. The World Wildlife Federation for animals? PETA? They would rather go save animals than to save their own humankind most times. Name one group of Caucasians that are going out of their way to help other groups of minorities that need help or could use help. Is there any? I'd like to know that. If you know of anybody, or if you know of a group or a single amount of people or a massive amount of people, let me know. Give me their information. I would like to join their cause. I wouldn't doubt that somewhere in my bloodline I have some sort of French or possibly Irish or European blood somewhere in my bloodline. I wouldn't doubt it, so I would like to know. I'm actually a very negative person when it comes to a lot of things, and I'm actually a very, very hard person to get through to when I have my heart set and dedicated into something. Now, I want to know, where are these peace groups? Why aren't they working hard at constantly creating peace? Is it all for profit? Is it all just out of pure benefit? We only do it out of getting benefits? If it doesn't benefit you, you won't be a part of it. You have to have something on the other end, I guess. It's really an unhealthy cycle, because at the end of the day it just creates more hate, more segregation, more depression, and all that stems from a lot of other problems. I could go on and on for probably a whole 24 to 48 hours of how much problems stem from one another and how nobody is willing to defend anybody else. And in turn, us natives, we are held down, we are dumbed down, and we have really nothing going for us. And then when it comes to all these pipelines and all the resistance and all of the good deeds we're trying to do, we're trying to save water. We're trying to save the water. We're trying to save the rivers in America so that not only us Indians can have drinkable water, but all the Caucasian towns around can also have drinkable water. And we're trying to literally save the children. You know, we're trying to save the youth so they're not poisoned in the near future. And it's very likely that they will be if these pipelines are built underneath the fucking river. You know, and the Dakota Access situation, if that pipeline is built, we're fucking like literally allowing the world to kill millions. We're allowing the establishment and the oil companies to ruin millions of people's lives once those pipelines break. And pipelines should have expiry dates and should be updated and fixed every day. But how are they going to go out of their way to fix these things constantly? And are they going to prevent all spills? No, they're not. One spill is going to fuck up a lot of problems in the world. It's going to ruin millions, hundreds of thousands of lives indefinitely. People are going to be poisoned. And it's very common. It happens all the time. And what are they doing it for? For profit. They're not doing it for the greater good of humanity. They're not doing it for the greater good of the country. They're not doing it for the greater good of anybody when it comes to family. They're doing it for money. For little jobs, temporary jobs. They're doing it for over $1 billion, under $1 million sometimes when it comes to the average worker. Like, at the end of the day, you're digging up holes, you're ruining the land, you're ruining all the resources, and you're putting millions and millions of people's lives at risk for profiting a bit of money. Like, you can't go out of your way to go find education elsewhere and find other forms of income. You have to be a part of this establishment. Now, when it comes to all those cops shooting and harming and sicking dogs and on the verge of killing the Aboriginals here and in any day now, you would think that they would have, you know, decency. All these people are bound to join together to destroy the resources of America. And it's all just like it's a working tactic. It's white against red. It's white against black. It's white against everyone else that's colored. At the end of the day, like, we're all trying to avoid the big picture, when the big picture is all about race at the end of the day. Who's who, what's what, and what's their mission? What's their life mission? What are they trying to do? And for what reason? Resources? Sure. Whatever, say what you want. Say what you want about where it's going. But we all know the end result. The wise Indian man knows the end result. Even the profiteers and the banksters and all of the elitists know the end result. The wise, educated college student knows the end result. Even the people working in the oil fields, they know the risks and the end results, but who cares? YOLO, right? We all live once anyway, but you're going to have kids, and your kids are going to have kids, and we're all going to see this. No one's thinking about the generations ahead. And the people who are thinking about the generations ahead are being shunned, disrespected, disacknowledged, and pushed aside, shunned out, and left to look like fools. And that includes me. I've been fighting and defending my rights and for my people's rights for a little while now. Not very long, but you know, I have to be aware, and you have to be aware too. You have to be aware of all this bullshit because, you know, at the end of the day, it affects us all. White, black, Asian, Muslim, Latino, Mexican, Snow Mexican, Canadian, all of us. It affects us all. And what are we doing it for? The global elites profit. We are putting ourselves more in debt with the people who run the motherfucking country. And we're all gonna see. We're all gonna see. At the end of the day, there should be another way. Take a notice, my glasses are fixed. Last video they weren't. They were fucked up, had tape and everything. But yeah, you know what it is. Follow my shit. Subscribe to my shit. Disrespect me, I'll disrespect you. You know who this is. And if you don't, my name is fucking Diggins. True Mind Nation's founder, leader, CEO. The Truth Digger 306. Catch me anywhere. Instagram, Twitter, PlayStation Network, Truth Digger 306. I'm not always this controversial and this political. I'm into all other kinds of things. I just finished graduating from VCAT for Gaming Development Design. That took a while, but I did it. And we got something coming. We got something coming. We got a big mission in mind, big plan. So stay tuned, be aware, take care, have fun, and don't worry about the world. The world and itself will all work itself out. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, puff on a joint, enjoy life, and just try to live positively. Let people like us focus on the negativity. We'll teach you. You understand? Subscribe to my channel. You know what it is. True Mind Nation. I'm up.